What's up, guys? My name is Johnny Davis, and welcome to my recording studio. That was never supposed to be a recording studio. Let me explain. This warehouse has been a recording studio, a rehearsal space, a place for us to party, and it has done all of these things over the course of 8 years. This is our 4th warehouse, and I say our because it was my band's, over the course of many years, and it has lived and had many lives in that time. We've lived in here, we've partied in here, we've practiced in here, we've made music in here, we've thrown beer pong contests in here. It has literally been a crazy, debaucherous rock and roll circus. And then 6 years ago, I decided I wanted to make this a recording studio for myself, to write, record, and produce music for commercial and licensing purposes. So I began my journey down the rabbit hole of audio engineering, music production, gear, reviews, learning everything that you do when you're trying to get into something. And that took me down a very long, expensive, confusing road to where I'm at now with this studio. But we'll get into all that on another video. This is just a studio tour to show you where this studio is at, show you some of the gear I have, and take you along through a walkthrough of my studio. To start, some of the gear I have here, I have the PreSonus HP60 headphone amp. This thing is awesome. I've had it pretty much since I began in my studio. Covers everything I need. I have 6 channels for headphone amps. I probably never use more than 2 or 3 at a time. Then we got the Furman power conditioner to run a bunch of stuff. Moving over here, I got my Apollo 8 interface. Amazing piece of equipment. I highly recommend it. Next down, our Empirical Labs EL8 distressor. You will see this in so many professional studios across the world, and it's for a reason. It is a very good piece of equipment. Next down here, I have my Golden Age Pre-73 MK2 preamps. Both of these guys are solid state, but they sound amazing. They're a super good price point. I highly recommend them for any studio, any budget. Moving over here, I got my Art Digital MPA2 mic pre. Super good piece of equipment for the price. Nice clean mic pre's. Can handle quite a bit across the board. I've been pretty happy with it and everything I've used it for. And then we got another power conditioner down here for the rack stuff. Moving over here, I got my Atom A7X monitors with some Auratone 5Cs. And I love this combo and this setup right now for what I'm using it for. I've gone back and forth on a bunch of different monitors, still trying to figure out what I like and what I like in this room. So far, these have been amazing to mix on, amazing to produce and work on. I have nothing bad to say about these guys. They're a pretty good price point, around $700 for each monitor. So they're a little bit higher end on the price, but not too high to break the bank. The Auratone 5Cs are an amazing tool to have for a reference speaker. I highly recommend you getting a pair if you do not have a pair. Funny thing that I did, you see this old school receiver sitting in here. When I bought these, I did not feel like shoveling out the money for the power amp for those guys. It was like $400 or $500, and I was already spending $400 or $500 on the pair of monitors. So I went down to a thrift store, found this old receiver, hooked it up, works like a charm. It's a little bit ghetto, but I kind of love it. Next up, I got my Yamaha S90, and I love this keyboard. It's a phenomenal keyboard. It's weighted. You can use it as a keyboard for performances. You can use it to record with the sounds that it already has built in straight into your DAW, or you can use it as a MIDI. I picked this guy up used. You will find that pretty much all the equipment and everything in here I buy used, I buy secondhand, I find deals on, I wheel and deal on. if you want to build out a studio and you're on a tight budget, you better get good at wheeling and dealing people and hustling, because that's the only way you're gonna get the gear that you want. All the acoustic treatment in here is now GIK, except for that guy. I built that guy. So I got GIK all the way around, big old bass traps, another one that I built up there, that little guy. This was built by a friend of mine and myself. It's acoustic diffuser. This is a math equation you can follow to build this. And I'm talking about this math equation, I'm talking about this like I know what I'm talking about. This was not done the right way. I have no idea if it's serving the purpose that it's supposed to, but it looks great. It cost me a little bit of money to make. It weighs like 250 pounds, but I love having it in here, so it stays. I don't know if it works. These are GIK acoustic panels as well. And this room is really small. It kind of looks big on camera when I'm cruising around in here. It looks like it's this really big room, but in all actuality, the room is only 12 feet long, 10 feet wide, and 9 feet tall. It's a small room. Lot of frequency problems in this room, a lot. So I bought all this GIK acoustic treatment after years of making my own, saving up, trying to do everything I could, and I'm finally happy with how this room sounds. So this, hanging out over in the corner, nice little channel strip from an old SSL mixer that a friend of mine gave me. And since I don't have any room for a mixing console in here, I just threw this up here. This needs to get rewired. It's all busted and broken up, but it's really cool to have, and it is a great reminder of where equipment is at now and where it was at 20 years ago. All right, we're gonna head into the live room. So the live room is actually pretty small as well. I built this wall to divide this warehouse because this is just one big warehouse. So I built this wall and I put this wood up so it looked a little bit nicer. And I rented out the other side of my warehouse to a friend for storage. Kind of regret doing that because now I have very limited space for my studio, but we make it work. So cruising through, got all my cables, extra percussion, guitar rack, piano, gotta have a piano, drum set, DW custom, sounds phenomenal. Got my orange gear, shout out to Orange Amps, still endorsed, love you guys. Got another orange dual tear over here with a Laney 212, 1984 Marshall 412 cab. Orange 212 with vintage 30s in it. Marshall 412 with Greenbacks 1986 TV cab. Slanted. Sounds amazing as well. Moving over to the other gear we got in the studio. SVT Classic Pro head. I don't know any other bass rig that sounds better than this. My opinion, you take it, leave it, whatever. This sounds amazing. Ampeg 812. This whole giant rack case, it's taller than me, I'm 5'8". When we used to tour, our bass player had this custom built for him, zebra print, all the way down. The best part, I don't have the front shell for it. The front shell, zebra print, holds his guitar. So you open the face panel, you got the bass guitar, zebra print, top to bottom. This whole thing rolling is like 400, 500 pounds. It's absolutely asinine, but it is also kind of badass and very rock and roll. Here, I got some JBL 15s in here, down there as well. So you can do a little bit of playback or use it for rehearsal. I've always been a person that loves people just to be well rehearsed. And sometimes a band comes in here and I'm like, hey, you guys need to run through the song 3 or 4 times, or maybe for an hour or 2 before we start tracking, get warmed up, just get everything dialed. The elephant in the room. This is my massive, humongous, 7-foot tall, I don't even know how wide and deep vocal booth that I bought from a church. Talked them down from $2,500 to $500. Again, hustle, hustle, hustle your gear. Check out the inside. So got this huge space. I forget the name of the pattern, but every single wall is different length. But it was way too lively, way too bright, way too much reflection. So I just covered the whole thing with foam, put a carpet down. Now it's a pretty good sounding vocal booth that I think has much more purpose than it did when I picked it up. One thing you'll constantly hear me say and talk about is getting deals on everything. Piano, got it for free. Vocal booth, 500 bucks. This snake, tons of cables, all these cables, mics, all kinds of stuff. Picked it up from a guy, 250 bucks for everything. One of my biggest things when you're starting out, building out a studio, whatever you're doing for yourself, find the best deals you can. Throw lowball offers at people. Offer people next to nothing for things. The worst they can say is no, but at least you're shooting your shot, because everything is so expensive in audio. Everything. So if you can find any deal, save yourself a little bit of money. I highly recommend doing it. 90% of this studio is DIY. Hustling deals all across the board. Headphones, DT770 Pros. Come over here. Got the Sony MDR 759 Pros. Picked those up at a thrift store for I think 50 bucks. Picked those guys up from a guy on Craigslist. I think I gave him 75 bucks. Go over here to the pedal board. This is my personal pedal board, and I keep it really simple. Over the years, I've been a touring musician. I've done a ton of stuff, and simple has always been better. So I got the Plethora X-Ray 5. Love this pedal. You can do so much with it. You can program, you can Bluetooth connect, you can create your own sounds. It's truly an endless pedal. Next, I got the Ocean's 11 Reverb. And then I got a BBE Sonic Maximizer, because I love fattening up my guitar tone. Other little guys, I found this awesome talkback microphone at a thrift store. Got it for 20 bucks. Talkback mic button doesn't work, so I wired in a foot switch, which is right down there, and it works great. Another thing, I don't know if you can see it back here. Get it to focus. Got my WD MyBook hard drive, 4 terabyte. You gotta have extra space to store stuff. And then last but not least, my DAW of choice is Reason Studios. I know a lot of people don't use Reason Studios, but I have been using it for years and years and years, and I absolutely love Reason Studios. Has this amazing SSL console feature. So you got your sends and returns, you got all of your EQ chain, you got compressors, gates, all of your dynamics, your gain up here at the top. It is amazing and phenomenal, and I highly recommend you trying it if you have not. Another cool feature in Reason, you can flip over to your rack. It's just like a studio rack. You hit the tab button and you can scroll behind. Check everything out. You can wire stuff in how you want. You got complete control over everything in this DAW. And that's a tour of my recording studio. It's in Oregon, Bend, Oregon, to be specific. I'm very proud of this place. It took a long time to get it here, and it was a lot of different renditions and a lot of different layouts before it was at the state that it is now. If you have any questions on any gear or how I got anything or how I do anything, feel free to comment in the comment section. Be happy to answer anything. I think I'll probably go into more depth on wheeling and dealing and getting gear for good deals. I think a lot of people need to realize you don't need to buy anything new. There is a plethora of amazing gear out there that is used, and very, very little in this studio was bought brand new. Almost everything was bought used. I think the only things that are new are the monitors, the Auratone monitors, and my interface. I think everything else in this studio was bought secondhand. It's a really good way to go if you're on a budget. Thanks for watching.